part 2, project 3, folio task 4. This is the part 2 video for task 4, uniform costing. Okay, uniform costing. Just scrolling down, in our last video, we went through all the instructions. Those which are crossed out. Those have been completed as part of part 1. If you're watching this and you haven't done those, you can go back and watch the part 1 video. So today we're going to focus on, or in this video, we're going to be focusing on creating the spreadsheet in accordance with the style guide extract for spreadsheets. So this is all about formatting the spreadsheet ready for submission. Okay. So in part 1 we covered, we did all of our, we put in all of our figures. Okay, we put in all of our figures, and we also did all of our formulas. Okay, we did all of our formulas. Okay, this formula here, this 3,500, we can turn that into a sum function there, because we want to use, I have had discussions with some students about their spreadsheets and things like that. You do need to make sure that anything that can be done with formulas is completed with formulas. Okay, so just making sure that you're always making sure that if it can be done with formulas, you are doing it with formulas. Alrighty. If it's any sort of multiplication, addition, divide, anything like that, make sure that you're using formulas to complete that. Alright, so at this point, you should just have the raw data. We've just got the raw data inserted into our spreadsheet, and we're going to start looking at our style guide, this style guide extract for spreadsheets, and going through and completing each of these points one at a time. Now we went ahead and did this, or we did this as part of task 2. Again, this is just a refresher to make sure that everything is being completed. This is the process, or this is a way of going through this and just doing every single one. Okay, you're going through, you do every single one. Okay. In instances where I've been giving feedback, a lot of the feedback has not been on the actual spreadsheet itself or the tables, but mainly the use of the style guide. So you've got to make sure that you are using the style guide, and that everything in this style guide is, or your spreadsheet rather, matches everything that's written in the style guide. Okay, let's start off. A couple of easy, simple things that I'm going to do to begin editing and presenting my spreadsheet. I'm going to go to the View tab, and I'm going to change it to Page Layout, change my view to Page Layout. The reason why I change my view to Page Layout is that it allows me to see the header, and if I scroll down, it allows me to see the footer, okay, both of which we will be editing. It also shows me where my pages begin and finish. So you can see here that if I was to press print, right now, okay, I would get 2 pages. I would get data on one page, and then I would also get these items on another page. So at this point, this document is not ready to print. When preparing spreadsheets, you always need to make sure that they are prepared for printing. They're ready for print. Okay, if you submit a document to me, if you submit a spreadsheet to me, and one of the first things that I do is I go to print and I have a look, and if it's not print ready, I'll send it back to you and I will ask you, okay, or I'll give you the feedback, please make this document print ready. Alright. Okay, so from here we're going to make some simple changes to print this document. So first thing I'm going to do is look at the style guide extract. Now, some common things, and I'll write these down actually in my table here. Some common things that we can do to make, or to change our page layout so that things will fit onto the page. We can look at the margins. Okay, we can look at changing our margins. We can look at the text size. Okay, we can look at column width. All right, we can look at column width. We can also look at our orientation, or page orientation. Okay, excuse me, I think I might have spelled that wrong. No, that's correct. Okay, our page orientation. All right, and those are really the main things that we can look at for reducing and changing the size, and allowing all of these items to fit onto one page. Oh, there's one other thing. Sorry, there is our fit to page function. Okay, and I'll detail this one as well, the fit to page function. All right, very, very useful, very nifty one. Oh, and print area. So I'll go through all of these now. Now, before we begin starting to make changes, okay, to all of these things, we have to remember that there is a style guide that we have to adhere to. Okay, there's a style guide that we must adhere to. So the first thing I'm going to do is in my style guide extract, I'm going to press Control F. And I'm going to get the find function. I'm going to get the find function open. Now from here, I'm going to go through each of these items, okay, and see if the style guide mentions anything about these. Okay, mentions anything about these, and then follow the style guide's directions. So we'll start with margins. Okay, just going to type in here. I'll just click off that and just type in here margin. Okay, so there's two results. So twice in the document margins are mentioned. Allow minimum margins on all sides of 1 centimeter, and tables, got an extra L in there, and tables to be created to be centered horizontally within the page margins. Alright, so I've got those 2 points there. So I know that I can change the margins to make my table fit onto one page. I found in the style guide where it mentions margins. Now I'm going to follow these. I'm going to do exactly what this has said. Okay, and hopefully this will make it, or this will format my document and according to the style guide, and hopefully it'll help it fit onto one page. So that was margins, minimum margins of 1 centimeter, and we need to horizontally center on the page. So to change our margins, go to page layout, to margins, and I always tend to, you can use some of these preordained settings. I like going to custom margins and changing it manually from here. Okay, and changing it manually from here. So the minimum margins was 1 centimeter. So I'll just make them left and right 1 centimeter. Okay, we don't have a problem fitting the table on the page top to bottom, because it clearly fits on the page top to bottom. It's only left to right where we're having an issue. So I'll just make those 1 and 1. Okay, so that's that one done. I'll just cross that one out. The other one was center the table horizontally, or center horizontally within the margins. And I can actually access that setting from here, from the page setup, center on page horizontally. So I've got left and right 1 centimeter and center on the page horizontally. If I press OK, you can see that we've actually moved that column over. The end of the word deficit doesn't quite fit. Yet. Okay, I'm just going to black that out because we've done it. Doesn't quite fit, but we're getting there. Alright, next we're going to look at text size. We're going to look at the text size within the table. Okay, we might actually do all of our fonts now that we've gotten to text size. So having a look at the style guide extract, let's put in there text size. That's regarding font. Okay, font. So we've got one result here. I'll just cross these two out because we've done that one. I'll just cross that one out because that is all done. We'll go back to font. There's one result. There's one time where font is mentioned, and it's 3.4. Arial font size 10 should be used other than for headings. Alright, so that means Arial font size 10. So everything within our table, so we can highlight everything within our table that isn't a heading. So these items at the top here, these are headings. These are headings. So we can change all of this to Arial size 10, and at the moment it's Calibri 11, which means that it should hopefully reduce the size slightly. Okay, all right, reduce the size slightly. Okay, so green tick once you've changed that. From here we'll look at changing the headings. Looking at the headings, So I'm going to go back to the style guide extract, and I'm going to put in the word heading. Okay, and see what comes up. All right, we've got 3 results. We've got 3 results. Include a title in the header, format using heading 3. So that's talking about the header. We're not looking at the header yet, so we'll skip over that one. Column headings to be aligned left, bold, Arial or Arial narrow, no smaller than size 12. So this one here, I'll focus on this one here, and let's make these changes. Oh, I also need to cross out that one there because we finished that one. We put the font size into 10. All right, left aligned and bold. So I'm going to highlight my headings. I'm going to make sure that they're aligned to the left and that they are bold. Something that I also like to do, and I'll just highlight the whole entire table and do this. I always like to center everything in the cell, okay, in the center, vertically, rather than sit it on the bottom. I think it gives a much cleaner look and it makes it much more even. So that's something that you can do as well. So bold and left aligned. Arial or Arial narrow, no smaller than size 12. So I'll make it size 12, and it's got to be Arial or Arial narrow. I'm just going to go with Arial today. All right, so that's actually made our problem a little bit worse. Okay, our problem of fitting it onto one page, because we can't see all of the headings because we've actually had to increase them in size. If I double click on them and just make these columns big enough to see each item, you'll see that this actually made our problem worse. Okay. In saying that though, we still have other things that we can do down here. We still have other things that we can do, okay, to try and get this all to fit. Okay, to try and get this all to fit on the page. All right, and it will very easily fit on the page. Okay, we're just going through the process of making all the changes. All right, so let's just go back to our style guide and cross this out because we've done that. So get rid of the highlight and I cross it out. The strike through function, highly suggest using that. Highly suggest using it in that it just makes it so much easier to actually, just track what you have and haven't done. All right. So we've everywhere where it mentioned headings, we've done that. We've done that now. All right, column width. Let's have a look at our column width. Now, column width should always be as even as possible. All right, as even as possible. At the moment, and you need to look at it from an aesthetic point of view. So what looks good? What actually looks good? Okay. You can see that there's different types, there's different items in each column which dictate or change the size of what's needed. However, though, you should always look at it and think about what will look good. Okay, I don't think that it looks good having these 4 columns which all have figures in them. They're all different sizes. That does not look good. Okay, same too here, these 2 being slightly different sizes as well doesn't look good either because they both have text in them. So what I'm going to do and what I suggest that you do is columns A and B, we make them the same size, okay, because they have similar types of information in them and it will look even if they're the same size. So the one that needs to be the biggest is column A because it has the most, the longest text or the longest run of text. So I'm going to check what that column width is. Right click, column width, 4.92 centimeters. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to make column B 4.29 centimeters. All right, so now they are both the same width. Okay, it gives a look of evenness. It's very, very even. Okay, very even. All right. Now looking at the other 5 columns, the column which needs to be the widest is the surplus/deficit column because the words surplus/deficit are the longest. Okay, so selecting, and that's looking a little, it's a little bit off, that's okay. Selecting column G, I'm going to look at the column width is 3.49 centimeters. I'm going to make columns C, D, E, F, and G all 3.49 centimeters. So highlighting all of them, right click column width. I'm going to make them all 3.49 centimeters. Now, you'll notice that that has actually blown this out a little bit further. However, though, it is even. It is even on the page. All right, we don't have these uneven column widths. In your table, so while I've gone through and I have made changes and my column width was specifically 3.47, yours may be different depending on your version of Excel and things like that. So just what you need to be doing is making these 5 columns the same width so that they are even and it looks good, and these 2 columns the same width. What their actual widths are, it does not matter so long as they are even. Okay, that's column widths completed. Next one there is page orientation. Page orientation. Going to go and check the style guide and see if page orientation is mentioned. We've got one result. Landscape page orientation to be used unless otherwise directed. So very easy, very simple one. We can change, because the style guide says we can change our page layout or our page orientation to landscape. Now as soon as we do that, you'll see that everything fits on the page very, very neatly. You'll also see that it is even on the page because we have horizontally centered it. You've got the same amount of white space on this side as opposed to this side. Very, very even, and that's a very important factor when you're presenting documents, is that they appear even on the page. Alright, with the page orientation complete, I'll black that one out because we finished that one. Alright, these next 2 go hand in hand. We're going to look at print area and the fit to page function. All right. These all are contained within the page layout section, and print area is here. Now, if you are in your spreadsheet and you start scrolling, okay, scrolling down, you can virtually, it feels like you can scroll on forever and ever and ever. Same too, you can go to the side. You can go to the right forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. You can go on forever. Okay, well, there is an eventual end, but it feels like you can go on forever. The set print function, or the set print area function, okay, allows you to set the area that you just want to print. Okay, so at the moment we only want to print this area here. Okay, we don't want to print any of this. So at the moment, if I go to File, Print, you'll see that we've got the table and also to my notes which I've made. Okay, we don't want to print those notes. We do not want to print those notes. So I'm going to highlight just the table and I'm going to set the print area. Page layout, print area, set print area. You'll notice once you do that, you get a little line, okay, around. That line is not printed. That is merely a line showing the print area. Just like the grid lines on the Excel spreadsheet. They don't get printed, they're just there for reference. If I now go back to print preview, you can see that my notes are no longer there. Because I have told Excel, I have said to Excel, Excel, I only want to print this area. I only want to print this area. Okay? So it's a very, very easy way, very good way, easy way to set up your printing. Okay, set your printing up. All right, so that you only print, or that you are only displaying what you actually want to display. Okay. After you've set the print area, and I'll just black that one out. Something else that you can do is go to the page setup, and I do this by clicking on there's a little icon in the right hand corner. I click on that icon and it brings up the page setup. Okay, the page setup. And we were in page setup before where we were doing margins. We were in page setup when we were doing margins. In scaling, adjust to 100% normal size. That's the current setting. You can change this so you can fit it to one page. All right. So if, for example, you had a table and it was over 3 pages, okay, and it was over 3 pages, but you only wanted it printed onto one page, you can tell Excel, please fit this to one page. Okay, please fit this to one page. All right, or 2 pages or 3 pages, whatever you want. All right, so that to fit option will help you. That'll help you get things or shrink things down and get them onto a single page. All right, so by doing that, I was already on one page, but Excel will make the table fit to one page exactly. All right, with those few things complete, I'll just delete those off my page because I don't need them there anymore. They were just the notes. All right, going back to the style guide. With those few things completed, we'll start up in the header. All right, so include a title, in the header, formatted using heading 3, Arial black, size 14, color black. So we need a title. And it's going to go in the header here. Uniform design proposal costings. All right, nice and simple. And it was Arial black, size 14, color black. So highlighting that text, Arial black, size 14, color black. It's already black. Okay, putting in a header. Okay, the heading. I always put my headings into the center. Okay, into that center box. Your header and footer are divided up into 3 sections. Okay, so you don't need to worry about your alignment. It'll automatically align it accordingly. But heading across the top there. So I've done that one. Cross that one out. The date created should be in the header, top left, as well as the pale blue logo top right. So creation date. So you don't have to, creation date is the 19th/08/2015. Okay, but you're not going to type that in. I believe. Oh no, we can only do current date and current time. Okay, we can't do the date created. So we're going to write in the date created. Okay, that's the current date. Okay, by using the current date, what happens is if you open this document tomorrow, that date will change. Okay, that date will change. All right, so that's why you've got to just manually write it in. Okay, that's why you need to manually write it in, only because it'll constantly change the date if you use that current date function. Okay, for the date, I'm going to change it so that it is Arial, size 10. And italics. Okay, that's so that it will match the footer, and we'll get to the footer text in a moment. And the last thing is the logo. Where is it? Pale blue logo needs to go in the top right hand corner. The pale blue logo. So you can get the logo. The logo comes straight out of the required document section. To do that, we go into design and you select picture, add picture to the header or footer. And it's this one. All right, now you'll notice that it says and picture. Okay, it says and picture when I've clicked on it. Once you click off, you'll see that the logo gets bigger. Okay. Now, issue there being it's way too big. It's way too big. All right. To format and change the picture, if you select, you just click into that part of the header, and you'll get the format picture option. Okay, format picture option, and from here we can change the size of the image. The easiest way, the way that I like to do this, okay, is to use the scale function. Make sure you lock the aspect ratio. Always lock the aspect ratio. And then I just like to reduce the size, okay, via percentage. Notice that if I just click on the down arrow, that it goes down. So we'll go to 40%, see what that looks like. All right, so it's smaller. It's definitely smaller, but it's still too big because it's underneath this text. You shouldn't have it. It should not be touching the text. So let's go down now to 20. All right, 20 is good. Okay, 20 is good. It's just sitting on that top line, and it doesn't interfere with the text. All right, style guide extracts. We can Oh yeah, sorry, this point here I forgot to mention the logo can be resized, but the aspect ratio must be kept intact. And I just spoke about ticking and ensuring that that box is ticked. All right, last thing for this video, include the file name, initials of the creator, and page numbers in the footer. They all need to be Arial size 8 italics. All right, so file name. I'm going to put the file name in the left-hand box. Okay, in the left-hand box. Easy way to do this. You go to Design, and you just select File Name. Okay, add that there. Page numbers, and you'll see that it automatically adds the file name. Page numbers go in the center. Okay, you just have to click Page Numbers, and then the initials of the creator. And it doesn't give you the option to put the initials of the creator. Okay, so you just need to put in your own initials. BL. And the style guide says that all of those things need to be Arial size 8 italics. So just highlighting each one, you've got to do this individually. Home, Arial, size 8 italics, Arial, size 8 italics, Arial, size 8 italics. All right, and that is our header and our footer. That's why I made the date. I made the date italics and Arial so that it matches the items down in the footer. If it's anything else, I think it kind of looks a little silly. So I think matching the items in the footer is best. Okay, that's the end of this video. In the next video, I'll cross that one out. In the next video, we'll be going through formatting the table. Okay, formatting the table. And the last video we'll be doing inserting the charts.